Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network here, where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. I had a lovely day with a lot of sunshine and lots of work outdoors, actually. How was your day, Jan?
It was also nice. I haven't been out that much, but we had a lovely weather, and I've been a little bit outside, but I've also been doing a lot of editing and recent changes patrolling. Lots of vandalism going on right now, so need an extra
Right.
hand over there.
Are you doing that on Wikidata, or is it mostly on Orchard
It's
Wikis?
mostly on Wikipedia. I haven't figured out a good system for doing recent changes patrolling for Wikidata yet.
Yeah.
So I'm mostly adding a lot of things to my watch list and and use that. But it would be nice to figure out. We haven't really done that. That's an idea for a future episode.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yet another one.
Yeah, that's great. But today we're doing something else. We're everybody who watches this show regularly knows that you and I are building on the Gov directory and the Wiki project Gov directory.
Yeah.
And today we're going to do some prep work before being able to add a new country. So what will you be prepping on?
We will both be working on the Russian Federation and their government agencies. And
Yes.
we actually, so another tip, each week we have like a Gov Director hour, a drop-in hour, where Jan and I work on Gov Director for an hour, and everyone is welcome to join us on Jitsi. And yesterday, when we had it last time, it's every Friday, we were working on Russia and Ukraine, and we got a lot of ideas because they have a lot of social media accounts and things that we cover on Gov Directory, and it would be nice to have a good overview, especially in these times, of their various accounts online. And because of that, we will work on Russia today.
Yeah. And for many reasons, and one because Gov directory is meant to be the easiest way to contact your government, and
Indeed.
perhaps there are people who want to come in contact with the Russian Federation right now. So we'll do some groundwork. We'll probably not get that far that we can actually publish the country on Gov directory today, but still we'll improve the Wikidata at least, and that's always
Indeed.
good. Yeah.
Indeed.
Hello, Nicholas. So I will. Should I start, or do you want to start?
No, go ahead.
All right. So I will start by. I found this navigation box on English Wikipedia. Navigation boxes. I find this is actually a great way to sort of get an overview of any topic. And sometimes here you even get some sort of sense of what the modeling could be like on Wikidata, because here we have the ministries and we have the agency under each ministry. And this seems to be a fairly decent amount of information here. So my plan today was just doing some manual editing, improving these items, and we'll see how far we get. So I haven't really done much more research than that. So you'll follow along here and see what I'm doing when I'm doing this kind of hands-on manual editing. So I'm just going to start from the top. Open it up in a new tab. Of course, now I'll get to a Wikipedia article. Let's see if the shortcut works. So I think if I hover over here, it doesn't show for you, but I get a little tooltip which says Alt-Shift-G. So let's see if that actually works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh.
So Alt-Shift-G.
And that's a user script.
No, that's actually built into, I guess it's Wikibase supplying this to MediaWiki. MediaWiki have a few keyboard shortcuts. And
that's
now
interesting. I didn't know that, and I should really know that because
that's
hey,
very
I'm
useful.
navigating like that all the time.
Yeah. And now I'm going to change this to English for you. So you always have that in top here. You can just go to whatever language. And now I need to zoom in a little bit as well, I guess, for you here. Let's see. Am I zooming out? For some reason, I'm zooming out. That's not what I wanted to do. Zoom in instead. There we go. All right, that's a little better. So I'll just start here by giving a description in Swedish. That, and then check on the modeling here. I also just recently turned on the new mismatch user script. So if we get sometimes a yellow box in the top, that's going to be it. So I haven't seen it yet on any live items since I turned it on. So we'll see. Instance of federal police and police. I think these are duplicates. We don't need
Indeed.
both. And it is a federal law, so I think, well, let's check this one to see if it's the subclass of police. And let's see, it could be several items with similar labels. So let's see, this is the Q35525 I see in the bottom. That one actually doesn't zoom in. That's a little bit bad. It would be better if that one also became large. And let's see, this one is the same. All right, so it's definitely, we don't need both of them.
Here's a potential for a warning.
Yeah, that's...
If the one is a subclass of the Orchard one.
Ooh.
That would be incredibly useful.
There must be some sort of user script for that. That seems to not be too hard to do, but I don't know if there's... If anyone in the watching sees this, could please give us a tip. That would be really helpful. Just getting a little like, oh, it could be an arrow. This is a subclass of this.
There are cases where it could be kind of both, but in most cases, one of them should go.
Yeah, and in this case, I'm gonna remove the police one. So, and I'm actually I'm gonna use the other little thing here, the edit sum. Which gives me the opportunity to give an edit summary when I remove this. So I'll say here, police is already federal. As of police. And I hope reduces the risk that someone just undoes my edit or reverts it, because now someone can see, why did they just remove this? Of course, this is the police of Russia. It should be police.
Exactly. Without context, it could be tricky, especially when people used to remove things.
Yes. So here's where I really like this user script. I wonder if I have that already prepped here in the... Can I find it in our bar? No, I don't have it there. So I may go get it later. Let's keep working here. Logo image, that might be right. We have 2 inception dates. And we do get a warning. And it should probably be just one. And one of these should be the best one. Because when we query for this, so I could see the case for having to, if it sort of started, stopped, and started again, and still is the same thing, but then it should also have we do have a dissolve date. So it sort of makes sense. Maybe this is one of the exceptions. If it really is the same, do you really want the latest one to be the one that is preferred or not? I'm not sure. Nicholas is saying could be 2, but with qualifiers.
Yeah.
Yes, but which qualifier would we like to use? I would prefer if I could set one as preferred, because that would be easier to query for. And if someone wanted all of them, they could also get that. Under the name. Yes, but if it was the same name. And I guess here it will be hard for me because I can't really read Russian and see the names. So I'm going to leave this for now. We have motto texts, nice. We have on here and this is fairly new. I'm not sure if we've shown this.
Yeah,
That
I
when
think
something is preferred, it is in green. Maybe we saw this during an episode.
Yeah, I think I was like surprised by it actually during an episode. I wonder if I had a new user script or something that I wasn't aware of.
And
But
I think
no,
it got enabled just the Wednesday before you
Yeah.
we did this. So this is really nice. Good to see. In Russian, that looks good. Country Russia, yes. This Moscow is probably only applicable to the headquarters, because I would guess the police is all over the country.
I would imagine so.
I'm a little bit hesitant to that one. Here we have oh, this is a nice one. So nice modeling, stating that this is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, which we also could see here. So that's already good. Now we get a warning and say it should be also the inverse. So here's a way where we have a symmetrical relationship. So let's go add that. So it should be subsidiary of this. So I'll open this on up in a new tab. I'll go up here and I'll use your little script to do copy QID. And here I'll press A to add a new statement. Subsidiary. There we have it. And I'll paste this one. And now I didn't need to look if it was already there, because the warning said it wasn't. So otherwise you usually check this. So since it was a warning over here, we could be fairly sure that it wasn't there. So that's a good improvement already.
Indeed.
Now this one is loading very slowly. That it already did edit. Headquarters location, very nice. That's probably correct. We also have the coordinates there. Follows, replaces. Seems a little bit redundant to have them both, but it's not wrong. So I'll leave that. We have the official website and a reference.
That's
nice.
What did it have the dissolve date?
Yes, that's why we had 2 start dates.
Right.
Inception dates.
Okay.
So
then the dissolve date is a tricky one.
Yeah, so it was inception like was it 1700 something?
Yeah.
Dissolved in 1900 and then started later again. So
the
it's
Russian
sort of
Revolution,
yeah, it sort of makes some sense.
Yeah, but it would be tricky to query for if you, for example, say ignore everything with a dissolve date because you just want the current ones.
And we've done this for the Dutch municipalities because they have used this system. And
indeed.
And the query is really tricky. So you have to check for one that if it has something that ends, check if it also has something that started that didn't end.
Yeah.
But it's not the easiest query. And here has part or parts. All right, yes, that might be correct. And few identifiers, not so much information, contact information. So let's see, let's head to the website and hope that it actually loads. No. So unfortunately today I have run into a few things like this that I haven't been able to get to it. So that's too bad. Well, that's one. A few improvements. Let's go to the Russian State Fire Service. And Shift-Alt-G did not work. Alt-Shift-G, that did work. All right, so matters the order. We don't have a Swedish label here. This is sort of like me translating on the fly. Probably not even close to the Russian name, but at least it makes more sense than a Q number. So it's easier to improve from there. Instance of a fire department. I think that is actually too specific. It's probably
or
not a
just
fire department.
wrong.
Fire department is where you have the
Indeed.
The cars going out. So but I'm also not really sure. Well, let's see. I don't think we have like an item for a fire agency. Oh.
No, but at least government agency is something we could go with.
So let's see if we government agency, that'll add there. And I'll have this. I'll leave it. Not being happy about it. It should probably go away. I'll leave it for now. Here we have an inception, been around for a really long time. Oh, and this is a good qualifier because it says employees 200,000, but we don't know when. And since it's been around for like almost 400 years soon, this like doesn't tell us much. And no reference, so I can check it either. Not much identifiers. Let's see if we can get this one working. Or maybe my country is blocked. I don't know. Or my country, the country I'm in. Seems to be loading fairly slowly. I was hoping to get this up just to check because we get a little flag here. This one should have a language. I would bet it is in Russian, but you should always check because sometimes you get to a language in some other. I don't think we would go be redirected to an English version here. But
do you have the Internet Archive easily accessible? I have been using that all day to access Russian sites.
All right, let's see if we plug it in over here, what we get. Web archive. Yes, I see. This is good enough to see. So yes, so there was something today until 2:00. So let's see what it said over there. And this is indeed in Russian.
Yeah.
So we can add that. And that's also not a big stretch for not having the best source, even though I think this is a really good source. So
Indeed.
Language of work or name. That's the language, yes. Let's just check when we have this up here. Is there something else useful that I can figure out, even though it's in Russian? Go to the bottom over here. I see a lot of links here. Oh, no, it jumped. This is so if I copy this, can I copy this? Yes. And paste into a new, and then just remove this and see where we, oh. Here we go. See, YouTube works. Is this still the same?
It looks like it's the same name.
Looks to be the same.
Yeah.
Now, the quickest way I have figured out to get to the channel, which is what we store on YouTube, whereas here up here we have the user, is to click on any video. So just go to the video. And then, let's see, this link goes to the channel.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a workaround. And now I'll go up and just paste that in here. And this one we have prepared, I guess.
Yes, I think we do.
Yes. So with this user script, import script, I can just paste this entire URL, click the add thing here in the top, and add the YouTube identifier. So it recognizes this is from YouTube and edits. And it won't be shown here because I need to reload it because it makes this magic in the background for us. But if I do reload here now, let's see, it should pop up under with the identifiers. Yes.
Yeah. And this is super useful when you got like you had a long list of social media.
Yeah. So you can just copy and paste, copy and paste. Now I do get a warning here, but there's also,
That's
Ministry of
interesting.
Emergency Situation. Maybe this wasn't the right one.
Maybe we need to run that through some translation then.
Let's head back one step here and do some. I'll translate to English. Oh, this is the Russian Emergency Situations Ministry.
That's interesting.
Maybe this website wasn't entirely wrong then. Let's translate this one. All right.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's it. That is interesting. So this is not the website for the Russian State Fire Service. So I'll have to undo my edit here. And rather than just deleting it, I'll go into the history and do an undo because that's like more clean. So here's the undo button, which will show me the diff, and I'll actually say not to the fire service. Publish that, and then I'll remove this one. This that I actually added the language for. So it won't be an easy undo, but I turn off the edit sum here, and I'll press remove. I'll get this box.
And now I have actually prepared. It's user local /editsum.js.
Nice.
If you want to try this one out.
Oh, can I copy this? No, too many. No. Here we go. Right. So not adding, but cleaning up. Even if it's less information, wrong information might be even worse. So
is this government agencies then under the ministry, likely?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
so the website might be part of it, but probably not on the main page.
Exactly. But here we would also we saw that different item which modeled it with parent organization.
Oh, yes. So here it says part of. This should be moved to parent organization. So we'll use the move gadget to another entity. And now I don't. Oh, I'll need to copy this one first. So I'll open this up. I can copy the QID here. And now I'll move this, and it should go to the same entity. Oh, I don't need the new. I just need what is parent organization. I don't know that.
No.
So let's see. Open up a new tab again. And this is how I search. Right, P and not this, but colon. Oh, that's why I zoomed in or zoomed out before, because I accidentally changed my keyboard layout. I don't know where colon is anymore. How did I do that?
Do you have it there in the top on Ubuntu, in the menu? The keyboard layout? In the top left? Right. Top right.
I'm in the top right, but you can't see it because it's outside the Chrome window here. I couldn't find it there. Let's go into my settings. Keyboard.
In the meanwhile, I got a question here from Nicholas. Is it on purpose that your tool doesn't work on like themes, and noting that it's the auto identifier input? It's not on purpose. It's just I haven't spent the time on it. It's only working with a small subset of identifiers as well. It doesn't work with all external identifiers on Wikidata at the moment. There's a small list of hard-coded ones, mostly around social media. But I should make it work on like themes when I find the time.
Yeah, it's very strange because my Ubuntu says I'm actually having Swedish layout. Like there's nothing else to change from.
Oh.
I don't know where colon is.
Then you search for it and then switch the namespace manually.
Ah, yes. So I'll go here. I'll actually click for search pages, which you and uncheck the
Exactly.
main and then press search again, and we'll get the only properties here, and I'll find the parent organization. I have some debugging to do on my computer here later. So now I need to copy this one. And this is sort of one of the small downside with this script. It cannot search for anything. You have to be very precise here and help it. I want to move this claim from part of to be a parent organization. So let's press move. And now it actually does the work for me. And hopefully it works. Let's see. Wikidata being slow today. Very slow. Let's check my edit history, see if I said didn't do that yet. Is it the move claim gadget that is not working? Huh. If I press close now, maybe it conflicts with the edit summary thing if I have them both activated.
Oh.
Now it says the move claim was moved. Let me uncheck this and reload and see what we get. That was interesting. So now it says parent organization here correctly, but we do get the warning here. It doesn't have subsidiary. So now we'll copy this UID, go to the ministry, press A to add a new statement. Press A to add a new statement. There we go. Subsidiary here. And this one. And publish. And if I reload here, That should probably go away. The warning, yes. All right, that's. I only managed to get through 2 items. That was a lot less than I hoped for. That I think I'll stop there because it's also mostly like looking at them, trying to figure out what's wrong or what's correct, and do some few edits. But as we can see here, there's still like a 5 or 6 edits. No, a little bit more. 10 edits. 12. All right, not too bad.
Great. I'm going straight forward. Actually, I want to just quickly go back to something we did last week, because I was working on
Yes,
on queries, and we couldn't get this one to work. So I showed, this is just a standard SparkQL, and I showed how to write this one. This is a common from the Wikimedia Commons query service, which is talking to Wikidata, but this doesn't work. And we weren't sure why exactly. And we wrote it in another way, but it was a way that doesn't really follow the SparkQL standard. So many want to write it like this, because the other one is also like twice the size of just the same query. But the problem turned out to be that the optimizer behind the query service ran this part before it runs this part, which isn't intended in this case. So we can actually, in both Wikidata's case and the case with the Wikimedia Commons query service, turn off optimization. So if I do, I think I can use hint, and then you can click space, and it will suggest hint query, hint optimizer none. So it's essentially setting a triplet here, but instead of selecting things, it's actually setting a settings to turn off the optimizer behind the query. And if I run this, instead of timing out, which it would have done previously, it runs in a couple of milliseconds. And the interesting thing here is that we could write this with like an include and all of that kind of, and it would have worked anyway. But it turns out that turning the optimizer off is not only a much shorter query, it's also a lot faster. It's almost twice as fast just turning the optimizer off in this case. So this was a neat little trick here. And just to exemplify the includes queries, I'm just going to pick an example.
I think it's just...
Oh, it's just include, right? Yeah. So let's take color for roses. And we can see we call include, and we got a width here. And we can see that this is not red because the editor actually is not understanding the include keyword because it's not standard SparkQL. And this is doing a similar thing. It's a different query, so it's a little more to it. But doing this way is actually sometimes slower than just turning off the optimizer entirely. So it was a nice little trick that I learned from discussing the problem on the Telegram chat for structured data on Commons. So always a good idea to ask other people. And with that, I want to jump into today's work. And I'm directly heading over to the Gov directory page for Russia, because we got here lists of the various agencies and their various levels. And the only one we actually has mapped out so far is that the query for all ministers of Russia, they are 21. So I want to work towards that, towards a query that returns just 21, and 21 of the current ministers, so to say, all of them, but not old ones or not items that aren't actually ministers and so on. And we got a source for this, and this is a very helpful source. So let's see if it's accessible. It is. This is a page that not yet done, although it seems to be rather slow.
It was down for me earlier today.
Oh, it was up earlier for me today. Let's see. Otherwise, I'm just going to head over to the Internet Archive
Yeah.
because I don't think they have changed their ministries in the last few hours.
No.
Um,
And even so, we need to have it for how it was yesterday.
Indeed. But I'm gonna head over to the query service because while that at least tries to load, I can start working on this query, I believe. So, and I'm always double checking, if I'm on the Wikidata or Commons partial query service because
Yes.
I continue to make that mistake. Trying to run Wikidata queries on Commons or the opposite. So select all. Let's see what we can start selecting here. And we want country, Russia, instance or subclass ministry. So let's see what we can do there. Ministry. What could be fastest is probably going with instance of ministry first. Instance of, and then we want to do like subclass of as a property path. Subclass of, and then star. And here we want the general item for ministry. Ministry.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I recognize
the
that
one.
QID.
Yeah.
It's
Then
bad when you're starting to recognize QIDs that are 6 numbers long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Which is the longest QID you know by?
I think it's 6 numbers.
6 numbers, right?
But I only know 2. This one and another one that is all 5s and 1 1, which was my employer before.
Right.
Happened to have a very easy QID.
Indeed. Yeah, I think I know. I think there are a couple of Easter eggs in Wikidata. I don't know if we have had a look at them, but some of them are quite rememberable as well.
Yeah, I think one of the largest Easter eggs I know is Q12345.
Oh.
But I don't know if we have Easter eggs higher up than that.
I know we got for lexemes. No, not for theme, but entity schemas. We got one which had got a very long number.
Entity schemas, we can't have more than like 100 something entity schemas yet.
Yeah, but we got an Easter egg with a very high number. So that's why you see it if you're scrolling like lists of entity schemas.
Yeah.
Suddenly it pops up for a large number. I think it's for films or something like that. Okay, I think I got a query here, selecting ministry and country Russia as the start. But then I want the label of as well.
Might help.
Here we go, and let's select ministry label.
And if we're lucky, we get 21.
Yeah,
we're not lucky.
We are not lucky at all. But we can probably add sort out the dissolved one as well. So minus, and it could be tricky here in Russia, as you illustrated there, where they had like 2 start dates or like 2 end dates. No, 1 end date and 2 start dates. That's it. Around the First World War.
But I think we can narrow it down quite far first, and then we'll see if there's still something that tricks us.
Indeed. So heading down to 21 shouldn't... We can probably get closer than 71, so to say.
Yes.
And here it's dissolved, or like...
Yeah.
We also got end time, but dissolved is the important one at least. Let's see, 54. Already? But I can already see that I'm getting duplicates. I imagine it's the instance of.
Yeah.
Because, so if I take a look at this, for example.
Then probably several, and there. Yes.
Yeah, so we got Justice Ministry and Federal Ministry. Which is completely okay combination. This is one of those cases where they probably should be together.
But also a good sign. Because we
Indeed.
do have a federal, like a special one for this is usually that something that's missing, and this is really good.
Yeah, and this is great, for example, for Gov directory where we want easy lists of various kinds. But let's turn this distinct as well then. So we got a shorter list to work with, because that's great actually that we got an example of what we were talking about before.
33.
Now we're getting closer.
That's not too far.
That's not too far at all. Let's start with that actually, because considering that we find that interesting item here at the justice one, let's see if we can actually use that in an auto query and just query for all with instance of federal ministry in a while. And I want to actually correct the Norwegian label here. I have a lot of maintenance queries actually which uses this, which looks for parentheses inside of labels, because very rarely they should be there. It's much easier to do something like this. Oh, that's Norwegian. Oh, let's just fix it instead, because there are multiple spellings of Russia in Norwegian, I believe. And I'm not gonna try to do that live. So let's have a look at this item then. Federal Ministry, Russian Federation. Also known as, but no description, right? It's a subclass of federal executive body of the Russian Federation. This is also an interesting sign. Part of government of Russia, okay. Commons category looks okay. Category, I imagine, is very okay.
Yes.
This, however, is interesting.
I'm not very happy about that, no.
we got an article here in Russian, which isn't very helpful to me, but
no.
German I can kind of manage, and I see that it says that it's a list.
Yeah.
And this is a list article. It's not an article about ministries in Russia.
So it's properly named.
Indeed. So it's a list article, and that is like it is. And let's see if I can see if this is a list or not, at least. This appears to have text, body text, so to say. Alter it contains a list, but it doesn't seem to be a list article to me.
No.
So I'm making that bet, so to say.
Yeah.
So now, if I would just remove this, there would probably be some more items created for it automatically, but I want to make it the correct way. So let's see. First, I want to clean up that label. And say federal ministry, is that the name? I don't think so. It should be a small one. Yeah. And then federal ministry in Russia? Or is that the description?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Let's go with that. It's a wiki, as we say. Here's interesting, because here it says in the German label, and also known as, it says list over here. I want to remove that. That's interesting grammar, but okay. Because it's not also known as a list. The list is separate, and we will break that out.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna go straight to create a new item here. Let's see, create new item. And I'm gonna open a new tab, but I'm not really sure. What do we call items about?
Oh, you just call them list off.
List of...
But not with capital L.
Indeed. Actually, let's do a German one to begin with here.
Yeah, then you get it for free. And then it might be capital L.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that's it. And we start from Germany. And here we got instance of list article.
Oh, good.
Wikimedia list article.
Yeah.
And I want to move that link here. So I want to click like
you don't have that gadget turned on.
Oh, so you can move this ones as well.
Yes, there's a gadget for that.
Of course there is a gadget for that. I'm removing that.
Yeah.
And I'm heading over to this new one. It's DE Wiki. Oh, it's autocomplete here. That's nice of it. And there we go. And check. And now I have ensured that a new empty article won't be created. And I think we got is a list of. Oh, it's autocomplete perfectly.
Smart. Yeah.
And it's a list of things in this item. Federal Ministry in Russia. So this is a
very nice.
Great one here. Let's see if we get a warning here. We don't. That's interesting because I think if we go over here, we should be able to do as list. Wikimedia list related to the subject. And it's, of course, this item. There we go. That should really be one of those warnings. Like this property should also have.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also want to add an English label. And I think no, is list off. We don't need main subjects or something like this. I think this is actually good for just a list item for now.
Yeah.
Very
understandable.
Say Commons category point in time. No, not really think that's needed for lists. I'm gonna go with an English label. List of Russian federal. They got more ministries than federal in Russia, as they have republics. So that's why I type it out federal here. Did I spell that correctly? No, I did not. There you go. Thank you, computer.
And as Nicholas points out, we do have a lot of these things in Wikidata because it's so easy to, or historically have been easy to. I just want to hook this article into Wikidata. I don't bother that much if it's actually technically correct, but it's close. And of course, it's a step in the right direction, but we need to do that cleanup work.
Yeah, and sometimes it can also be like you want to be able to switch between languages on Wikipedia, and then it kind of makes sense if that doesn't have a typical article that you want to go to a list. So it kind of bit of in conflict there as well. I could imagine, for example, here it would be useful for someone to go between the article on the Russian Wikipedia and the list on the German Wikipedia. But it's...
And now there's a suggestion to sort of like move Wikimedia-related statements to be not among the other statements on Wikidata. But I just thought of those statements, there might be, or those properties might be interesting on Wikipedia in some ways, exactly in the same way. Like, well, this is a list of this is a category or stuff like that. Being able to navigate. Yep.
Indeed. And I think I've cleaned this up so it's clear what it is. It's a subclass of Federal Ministry. It's for Russia. And it got a list, so no one will like revert my edits because it has clear context now, I believe. Sometimes we do that with different from, for example, when it's not really clear. And otherwise, I would have maybe used, for example, edit some, which Jan showed earlier. But let's try to write my query with Federal Ministry in Russia instead. Because I believe if I go to this list, let's see if I left. I was doing, yeah, for example, here we got one of those examples like Ministry of Education and Science of the Republic of Tatarstan, because it's a ministry and it's the country of Russia, but it's not a federal ministry. So maybe I should here, instead of doing this subclass thing, just go with instance of Russian Federal Ministry. But I'm actually gonna duplicate this tab so I can compare the two lists. So I'm gonna remove the subclass off and just say VD and here Federal Ministry in Russian. And here's still the dissolve date, which is useful. And we are aiming for 21. So let's see. We got 21.
Ooh.
I did not expect that. I'm happily surprised. Let's see if it makes sense just quickly. Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. Finance, Culture, Energy, Agriculture, Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, Industry and Trade, Construction, Housing, Justice, Defense, Natural Resources. Jan and I used to say that the various countries, it says a lot about the countries when you look at what ministries they have. Russia got one for development of the Russian Far East and Arctic. Minister of Internal Affairs. I think that's where the police was under.
Mm-hmm.
We got the transport, digital development, science and higher education. Here we got education, higher education. That seems like it could exist. Sport, economic development. Okay. North Caucasus affairs, emergency situations. Maybe that's where that was the fire department.
Yeah.
And so it looks very possible, and it would be great if this is correct. Let's see.
I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
No.
What do you think is wrong?
No, so and here's a possibility. The navigation template that I looked on English Wikipedia might not be updated because that was not the same. So one of them is wrong.
One of them is wrong.
And that's not uncommon at all. Like I have been looking at Ghana, the nav boxes, South Africa, and I haven't found one that was 100% right so far.
Right. So I'm gonna go here in the web archive. This is from January, so I think it's good enough. Haven't heard of any changes. Let's see. We got Minister of Civil Defense, Emergencies and Disaster Relief.
Yeah, I don't think we had that one.
Yeah, but it might have been called something different.
That's true.
Let's just search for defense. Yeah, it's just called Minister of Defense here. So that's interesting.
That's a different one. So this was the Civil Defense, Emergencies and Disaster. So
yeah, but it's the only defense one I get.
Yeah, but there's a Minister of Defense as well in the nav box.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
and you probably have a Ministry of Defense on that page as well, on the web archive.
Because when I reread this, I see also that it's civil defense.
Yeah.
So this one appears to be missing.
Yeah.
In this query. So let's sort that out one directly. I'm gonna head over to the random tab here. See, I didn't get any hits. But what if I remove this one, for example?
Also seems to have a different. Ooh, very interesting.
Okay.
So it redirects on English Wikipedia to Ministry of Emergency Situations.
Right, that's what I get when I search here as well. Let's see if it's It's also known as Ministry of the Russian Federation. No, it's not.
No, I think it's longer. You just didn't see everything.
I couldn't see
It's
it.
Minister of the Russian Federation for Civil Defense, Emergency Situations, and Elimination. Is that the compact?
Let's see. If I copy it and put it in the text here. Okay, it's more, but it isn't visible.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a bug we have to report to Jon Harald.
or anyone with gadget edit rights.
Yeah.
Here, let's see. Follows Minister of Defense, replaces Minister of Defense. So they don't have a Minister of Defense.
They do have a Minister of Defense.
They do?
Yes.
Oh, is this a different one then?
Are you still on the civil?
I'm on the emergency situation.
Yeah, which is a different one than the Minister of Defense.
But it says it replaces it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's correct.
And this is Soviet armed forces.
Yeah, so that might be true.
That might be somewhat true, yeah. It might have taken over certain parts of, yeah. Yeah, then maybe this one is correct. Let's go back to the source here, because here we got the Minister of Defense, and that one we got, but we don't have an item for this one, it seems. But you said it redirected on English Wikipedia.
Yeah, yes. So do we have an item? No, in that list. Is there an emergency services there? Do you have the...
That's a good question.
So I think that's the same name, the same thing, but it is something that with a name that's mixing them up.
Right, because we don't have
the Ministry of Emergency Situations.
Let's see, and I can't access that page, it says, or no, I can't. It just needed to redirect. Okay, we got a minister here. Let's see if that's not the one. That's just this one. This is the one, right? Yes. Let's see here if we have a minister or chairperson I've seen it used. No, we do not have. We got a bit of social media here. Let's see what they are called over there. Yeah, that's a tricky one for me. But it seems to be the same indeed. If I just MCHS, it's also called. Did we have anything like that in Wikidata?
But that was the English. That would be the short Emercom.
Emercon, yeah, that's English. Let's see all entered languages. Russia must be in here.
Oh, you have it. Had it in the top.
So that we recognize from your work.
Yeah.
So let's see. Can I turn this into English, or
it
into Russian instead? There is an EN in there, but I don't think it's as easy to remove that. But you got a site, and if I remove, if I just take the Russian part here, like the top domain, so to say, what do I get then? Yes, it redirects. Thank you very much. and it has the same Russian
Yeah,
name.
so it's that.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So I'm actually gonna take this and head over to the Wikidata item and say also known as. If it, yeah. And this is one thing can I do edit some here as well?
I don't know.
Let's see. I am not sure. Let's see. It loads. There we go. I press publish. Yes, I can. Then I actually want to take this URL and just say source here, because it's another limitation actually of Wikidata, that we can't add sources to things like description, labels, and also known as. So I'm just gonna say source here. And shake. And I think if we quickly go into history, I can showcase that. Yes, it's a source, and then it's the URL. Great. Okay. So that is correct. Let's see, I'm gonna check a couple of more ones. Against the official list I got here. That's defense. That one we got. Minister of the Interior. Let's see. We do not have that one. Assuming that it's not under a different name once again.
I can't find that one in the list
in the nav box
either. Nav box, no.
But which one could it be confused with or like share name with? Did we have one for internal affairs here?
I think we
they
had.
Should be different, I imagine, as well. We do not have one with that name, at least.
Maybe that's the same one then.
Exactly. Internal affairs. No. That's interesting. Let's try to sort this one out as well, and then.
So I think that's the Minister of the Interior. That one.
Right. Yeah, it says here Interior Ministry.
Yeah, and the Spanish article is Ministerio del Interior.
Right. Okay. So I think we can feel pretty sure that it's correct. But I'm just going into this item and feel like, hey, we need to do something about this. This instance of.
Yes.
Indeed, as Niklas mentions here, we're falling into a rabbit hole. And that's very true, and I enjoy that. Yeah. That one is correct. That one we want to keep. Federal Ministry. Interior Ministry as well, because it's like the topic specific one. Government agency, however, and this is imported, and a lot of ministries on Wikidata just got something like this imported, like it's a government agency, and it's always from this grid release, and I always remove it. Executive branch.
That should be implied by.
Indeed, by it being a ministry, but I want to check the subclass here. It's not completely clear to me, so I'm gonna leave that for the moment. It's not that important to me. I think this one, Federal Execute Body of the Russian Federation, might, however, be a subclass here on Federal Ministry.
I think I remember that. Yep.
We got it. So that one I'm gonna remove.
Yeah.
And then we got like military unit and police and so on, and agency. and all of those are going to go.
Yeah.
They aren't true.
Not in the ministry.
Not in the ministry level.
Maybe run by the ministry, but
exactly. Maybe they have some power over it.
we can remove that one as well.
I can't. What is it even? Okay, it's military, but in a different word of some kind. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that. We got a lot less instance off here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
we are essentially keeping the same type of information and removed some that was wrong. But I want to add also known as, because this is very much an official source.
Mm-hmm.
And
Specifically
its
in
name.
English, yes.
I even would say that someone should review if the label should even be updated, but I'm gonna leave that for now, just to ensure that it is searchable, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm actually gonna again edit some work very well here. There we go. There we go.
So I think edit sum is smart enough. So as long as you haven't pressed save yet, you can have it open in editing mode and turn it on, and it will check on the next save.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think it works that as well. I actually had a look at it earlier. Yeah, I'm just on the safe side. Like when something doesn't work, I always reload as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
So foreign affairs, justice. I got a couple of ones to deal with here, but I feel like that not that list. This list. It looks like it's rather likely that it's, if not correct, there is just going to be one or two that's going to need a bit of cleanup before it can be added.
Yeah, and I think the things that I spotted that I thought was incorrect were just the names that weren't the same.
Yeah, and to maybe add a little bit of context to the work we're doing, one example that kind of triggered me to work on this yesterday was if we go down here to the defense ministry and we go to their, do they got a Twitter account here? I think they do. They do. Can you follow this?
Down.
Yeah, it's under identifiers, right?
Yeah.
So we head over there. We should actually be able to see, like, if we go to their accounts. I got inspired by this. Now it's in Russian. But if I click on this, that's actually a label for it saying that this is a state-affiliated media account. And they're doing this for like some of the big US government agencies, or like the official account of the prime ministers and a couple of ones. But in general, they don't have very good coverage. And I would imagine they actually have much worse coverage than we do in Wikidata. So what I imagine that people could do with this information and how people could use this if we improve upon this is to actually use this in a similar way. Maybe write a browser extension which adds this not only to the ones Twitter is aware of, but to a lot of them. Or maybe even Twitter could pick up this data and improve their own labels, and doing this across social media. So this is not something we're editing about Russia or Ukraine, but it just generally improving this type of information actually allows people to like label information and detect things like propaganda or misinformation, and just being more critical against sources with that additional context that systems like Wikidata can apply.
Yeah, and also that we in Wikidata are storing if they are verified accounts or not, also helps for reusers of the data.
Yeah, indeed. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this, and we believe that doing this for Russia as well as Ukraine currently is a bit of extra importance in these times. Right, and with that, I think I got a bit more work to do here. But I have shown
We
a
do.
couple of cleanups, and we have showed some user scripts, gadgets, and so on. So with that, I think I'm done.
Yes. So some very hands-on into actual editing, what we call the show.
Indeed.
It's
And this
really
type
good.
of cleanup work that we talk about a lot, and we are very
Yeah,
grateful for.
and which is sort of like one extreme aspect of the work we need to do. One is bulk editing and adding data with like automated tools, and then there are these tricky things where we really need a human in the loop.
Indeed.
And sometimes we even need a group of humans because it's so tricky. One person can't really figure it out. We need a discussion and see how do we solve this.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, as Nicholas says, we do have some happy editing to do. And
Indeed.
we will be back next week. We haven't figured out a theme yet, but we'll
No,
have
feel
a
free to
week.
ping us on social media about ideas, by the way.
Yes.
We have plenty of ideas ourselves, but it's always cool to hear from you, for example, about what you liked in the past, what we might revisit, and things like that.
Yeah. So until next week, happy editing.
Happy editing.